Hello students, welcome back to your online class. So today we are going to start our new chapter, that is lecture number 14, and here the chapter name is Elasticity of Demand. So students, this chapter we have already covered in your online class. So like here in this recording we'll just try to revise it. Okay, fine. So like the points or the topics that will be coming under this chapter are the meaning of elasticity of demand and what is the meaning of elastic and inelastic demand, and next we'll study different types of elasticity of demand. So under types there are only three things. They are price elasticity, income elasticity and cross elasticity of demand. So finally we'll see what are the degrees of elasticity of demand. So students, these degrees are also called as kinds of elasticity of demand. Okay, so another name for these degrees is kinds of elasticity of demand. Okay, fine. So now we'll start with the meaning. So what is the meaning of this term elasticity of demand? So elasticity of demand is nothing but the percentage change in quantity demanded to the percentage change in the price. So students, like in our previous chapter, that is in your offline class, we have studied about the law of demand. Okay, law of demand. So there what we studied, just about the relationship between price and demand. That is, when price of a commodity increases, your quantity demanded decreases. Okay, so about this we studied. So but in elasticity of demand chapter, what we will be studying means, like we will be studying how much percentage change in quantity is occurring due to percentage change in price. So there we just studied change is happening, but here we will be studying how much percentage change is happening. Okay, so that is nothing but the meaning of elasticity of demand. So who has given this term means Alfred Marshall. So Alfred Marshall has given the definition or the meaning of elasticity of demand. And who has given indifference curve analysis definition means Hicks and Allen. Hicks and Allen. Because in ordinal utility, like while discussing ordinal utility only, I have told you that ordinal utility concept was given by Hicks and Allen. So indifference curve analysis comes under ordinal utility. So that theory was also proposed by Hicks and Allen. So like you have to remember these scientists' names. Fine students. So let's understand the formula of this elasticity of demand. So elasticity of demand formula is EP. It is not EP, it is ED. Okay. Elasticity of demand equals to delta Q divided by delta P into P upon Q. So here delta Q is nothing but proportionate percentage change in quantity demanded. Okay. And delta P is nothing but percentage change in price. So the formula is delta Q divided by delta P into P by Q. So students, here P is your initial price and Q is your initial quantity demanded. So now like let's try to put some data in this formula and let's try to understand this. Okay, fine. So here is one example, that is, let's suppose that price of a good falls from rupees 10 per unit to rupees 9 per unit in a day. So like initially the price of one commodity was 10 rupees and after some time it will become 9 rupees. Okay, so when it was 10 rupees, so the quantity you are purchasing was 125 units. So when the price decreases means what happens? Your quantity demanded will increase. So that's why you will purchase 150 units. So like 25 units increase is happening here. Okay, so that is the question. So let's try to put this data in the formula and let's calculate the like how much elasticity of demand we will get. So delta Q is change in quantity demanded. So how much change in quantity demanded is happening here? That is 150 minus 125 is 25. This is delta Q. What is delta P? Change in price, that is 10 minus 9, that is 1. Okay, so what is the original quantity? Original quantity is nothing but this Q. Original quantity is 125. Original means like the first quantity what you are purchasing. Original quantity is 125, original price is 10 rupees. So this is the original price. Okay, so like when we put all these things in your formula, then we will get answer as 2. Okay, so elasticity of demand is 2 here. So students, like if you get elasticity of demand less than 1 means it will be inelastic demand, and if your elasticity of demand is greater than 1 means it will be elastic demand. Okay, if it is less than 1 means inelastic, if it is greater than 1 means elastic. So now we will see what is the meaning of these terms elastic and inelastic demand. So first one is elastic demand. So elastic demand is nothing but slight change in price leads to large change in quantity demanded. Okay, so students, let me give an example. So the example for this elastic demand are your comforts and luxuries. Okay, comforts and luxuries. So in luxuries, what kind of goods will come? The things will come like diamond, gold. Okay, so like why gold and diamond will come under elastic demand means, so when slight change in the price of gold happens in the market, so then what happens to your quantity demanded? Like you will not purchase gold, your demand will change in a very large amount. Okay, so when there is a slight change in price, so that will be leading to high change in quantity demanded, so then it is called as elastic demand. So the examples under these are your comforts and luxuries. Okay, so what is in this graph you can see, students, see here only slight change in price is occurring. Okay, but see here there is a huge change in quantity demanded, so that's why this curve is taking a flat shape. Okay, so the shape of elastic demand curve is flat, and here the elasticity of demand is more than 1. Okay, because like if you divide this thing divided by this means the amount what you will get will be more than 1. Okay, so that's why elastic demand means it will be greater than 1, and the examples are comforts and luxuries. So what is the meaning of inelastic demand? So it is the opposite of elastic demand. That is, even though there is a high change in price, there will be a small change in quantity demanded. Okay, so that is nothing but inelastic demand. So that is, large changes in price results in only small changes in demand. Okay, so here like the curve will be almost sleep, means almost vertical shape you can see, that will be parallel to your y-axis. This is y-axis. Okay, so it's almost parallel to your y-axis. So what are the example for inelastic demand? The necessary goods. So why necessary goods are kept under inelastic means, so what are the necessary goods? Your water, clothes. Necessary means the things without which you cannot live. Okay, so see students, like water is there, food is there. Okay, see food, even though the price of food increases, like you will not, like your quantity demanded will not change in a much quantity, because without food you cannot live. Even though they are charging high price means you will purchase that, you will be purchasing little quantity, but anyhow you will purchase food. Okay, so that's why even though there is a large change in the price, so there will be a small change in your demand, like you will purchase that, your demand will be less, but anyhow you will purchase that. Okay, so that is the meaning of inelastic demand. So here like you have to remember the definition, example, and the shape of this curve. Okay, so that is the difference between elastic and inelastic. So now let's see the types of elasticity of demand. So in total there are 3 types. They are price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. So students, in chapter 7th only we studied about the different types of goods or different types of demands. Okay, so in that we have studied about price demand, income demand, and cross demand. Okay, so like in the same way the price elasticity of demand is also like almost it's related to that chapter, like that concept. So we'll see how it is related. So first the first term is price elasticity of demand. Okay, so price elasticity of demand is nothing but it is a ratio of percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price. Okay, so here we are talking the change in quantity demanded with respect to change in the price, but in income elasticity of demand we will be talking, so this will come here. Okay, so this is the ratio. So in income elasticity of demand also the same kind of definition, but the only change is income. That is, here we will be talking about the percentage change in quantity demanded to the percentage change in income. Here percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in price, but here percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in income. Okay, so that is the definition of these 2 terms. So like in your exam they may give data regarding to income, so at that time you have to use this formula. So if they give data regarding to your price means you have to use this formula. Okay, in both way you will get the same kind of answers only. Fine. What is cross elasticity of demand? So it is little different from price and income. So here again we'll be talking about the percentage change in quantity demanded, but it will be not with respect to your price and income, but it will be with respect to another good. Okay, so like here we'll be comparing the relationship between 2 goods like x and y. Okay, so these x and y may be substitutes and this x and y may be complements. Okay, so now we will see for substitutes what will be the elasticity of demand, and for complements what will be elasticity of demand. So students, for substitutes it will be greater than 1, and for complements it will be less than 1. So now we'll try to check the reason, like why it is more than 1 and why it is less than 1. Fine. So what are your substitutes? Substitutes are the things like tea and coffee. Okay, so if in market tea is not available, means you can go with coffee. Like the goods for which you will be having some alternate options, so such kinds of goods are called as substitutes. So students, like if the price of tea changes, means what happens to quantity demanded for coffee? So it will change, no? Like if the price of this tea increases, means you will go to coffee. So like your demand is changing in a very high manner. Okay, so that's why when your quantity demanded is changing with a slight increase in price, means it will be your elastic demand. So elastic demand will be greater than 1. Okay, so for complements it will be less than 1. So what is the reason? Complements are nothing but your petrol and car. So the example for complements are petrol and car. Complements are nothing but like the things which you can consume together. So without petrol, car cannot be run, and without car there is no meaning for petrol. Okay, so like these are the example for complements. So students, like if the price of petrol increases, means like so your demand for car will decrease. Okay, so like one is increasing and one is decreasing. Okay, so your quantity demanded will be decreasing when there is an increase in the price for petrol. Okay, so let's suppose that your price became 10 to 20, so then your quantity demanded will change from 2 to 1. Okay, so it will be like 1 divided by 20. So when numerator is less and denominator is more, so then you will get a value which will be less than 1. Okay, so no need to remember these all formulas and these mathematical expressions. So just remember that for substitutes the elasticity of demand will be positive, that is greater than 1, and for complements it will be negative, that is less than 1, due to change in the quantity demanded and price. Okay, fine. So this is the meaning of cross elasticity of demand. That is, cross elasticity of demand is defined as the percentage change in the demand of one good as a result of the percentage change in the price of another good. Okay, so here we will be talking about two goods, but here we will be talking about quantity demanded and income, and here quantity demanded and price. Okay, so this is about your types of elasticity of demand. Fine. So let's go to the last topic, that is degrees of elasticity of demand. So students, like in total there are 5 degrees of elasticity of demand. So degrees are nothing but like what kind of graph you'll get due to a change in the price and change in the quantity demanded. Okay, fine. So like we'll study one by one. So what are the 5 degrees? Means perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand, relatively elastic demand, and relatively inelastic demand. Okay, so we'll study one by one. First one is perfectly elastic demand. So students, like you may get confusion, like just now we have studied about elastic demand, and now we are studying about perfectly elastic demand. Okay, so there is a slight difference in between these two topics. So let me tell you the difference. So there what we have studied, like even though there is a less change in the price, your quantity demanded will change in a high manner. But here also the same meaning. So here also there will be a like less change in the price, but the quantity demanded will be infinite. So there it will be more, but here it will be infinite. Okay, like infinite amount of quantity demanded you can see. So here also, like example, gold, diamond, platinum, and super luxurious commodities you can take. Okay, so students, like for platinum, if the price increase in market, means you will never purchase that, because initially, like obviously the price of platinum will be already high. So if, like after that again if they increase, means so it will be a burden for you, you will not purchase. So that's why here you can see in the graph, so there is like almost a negligible change in the price, like little change in the price, but your quantity demanded is changing infinitely, like there is no end for this, it is going like this. So here this axis is quantity demanded, this is price. Okay, so here that's why the elasticity of demand is infinite for this. Okay, so why it is infinite means you can put in formula, that is proportionate change in quantity demanded to the proportionate change in price. So quantity demanded is infinite and change is only little, like 0. So infinite divided by anything is infinite or not determinable. Okay, so that's why for a perfectly elastic demand it will be infinite. So the definition is perfectly elastic demand is said to happen when a little change in price leads to an infinite change in quantity demanded. Here you have to remember this definition. And example you can just write as a super luxurious good. Okay, and this is a graph. So what is the shape of graph means horizontal to x-axis. Okay, the shape of the graph is horizontal to straight line horizontal to x-axis. Okay, so that is the perfectly elastic demand. So now next one is perfectly inelastic demand. So students, this is completely opposite to that. So perfectly inelastic demand is opposite to perfectly elastic demand. Under the perfectly inelastic demand, irrespective of any rise or fall in price of a commodity, the quantity demanded remains the same. So students, like there, even though there is a little change in price, your quantity demanded was varying in a high amount. But here, even though the price is changing in a high amount, your quantity demanded will not change. Okay, so their price is constant. Here quantity demanded is constant. Here you can see the examples are your uh, most necessary goods like water, food. Okay, so even though the price of water changes in the market, your quantity demanded will not change. Okay, because water is a necessary good without which you cannot live. So that's why you can see here quantity demanded is like it's standing in a same point even though the price is changing. Okay, so that's why in perfectly inelastic demand, so there is a negligible, that is a zero change in quantity demanded due to different changes in the price, and the shape of this graph is vertical. So initially it was horizontal, so for this it will be vertical. So third one is unitary elastic demand. Okay, so students, here it is elasticity of demand is 0. Okay, because quantity demand is 0. 0 by price is like 0 by anything is 0. Okay, for perfectly elastic demand elasticity of demand will be 0. So what is unitary elastic demand? So by seeing this term only, that is unitary, you can see that there will be a constant change in price and quantity demanded. Like how much price changes, so in the same manner that much quantity demanded will change. So like in your online class I have given you examples of house rent and electricity, and some of you got confused. So let me give you one more example, that is of electricity or any kind of normal goods. No, sorry, not electricity. Any kind of normal goods like which we will be using in day-to-day's life. So like let's take an example of some electronic devices. Okay, mobile phone is there. So if the mobile phone price increases from 10 to 20,000 means, like in the same manner your demand will decrease. So you'll wait for some more day and you'll think like after some day the phone price will decrease, and at that time I can purchase. Okay, so like how much price is changing, so that much your quantity demanded will change. So that's why the demand or the unitary elastic demand is a proportionate change in the price level brings about an equal proportionate change in quantity demanded. Okay, so example, if you are getting confusion with this house rent and electricity bill means, you can just write as electronic devices or normal goods. Okay, so here elasticity of demand will be 1 because quantity demanded and change in price will be same. So 1 divided by 1 will be 1. Fine. So let's talk about fourth point, that is relatively elastic demand. So students, relatively elastic demand is same that as your elastic demand. Okay, so that is, it is a situation in which small change in price leads to big change in quantity demanded. So this we have already studied here in the first topic, that is elastic and inelastic demand. So it is like almost similar to that definition. So here you just see the example like branded clothes. So even though there is a little change in the price of branded clothes, your quantity demanded will change, because in market there will be many brands, like you will be having more options and you will go to some other brands. Means if they increase price means your quantity demanded will also change in a high manner. And here you have to remember this shape, that is a flat shape. Okay, so if you don't remember the shape also, if you remember this definition means, you can plot this graph like little change you can keep in price and high change you can keep in quantity demanded, and you have to join those points and you will get this graph. Okay, and here elasticity of demand will be greater than 1. Fine. So next one is relatively inelastic demand. So it is opposite to relatively elastic demand. That is, here there will be more change in price and less change in quantity demanded. So there, less change in price and more change in quantity demanded. So that is the only difference. So example for this is medicine. So even though if they increase the price of medicine means like your quantity demanded will not change, okay, because medicine again it is a necessary good for you. Salt also same, fine, okay. So here that's why the elasticity of demand is less than 1. So like for which commodities it will be less than 1 means when your quantity demanded will be changing in a less amount with respect to your price, so then it will be less than 1. So if this is more means it will also be more, okay, fine. So like that's all about your degrees of demand. So let's revise the graphs. That is, the graph shape is here like horizontal to x-axis. Here the graph shape is vertical to x-axis. Third, unitary elastic demand, it's convex shape because one is like both are constant. And here for relatively elastic demand it is flat shape, and for relatively inelastic demand it is steep slope, okay, fine. So that's about your today's class. Thank you.